But yeah, what's up, Aiden? But we about to kick it off, man. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is President, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. This video is by Five's Nightmare, so if you guys have, or Nightmare Fives, excuse me, if you haven't already, be sure to swoop down the description box, click on that link, and go watch the videos in entirety while we pause it and stop it and talking through the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for the 2,000, I think it's 367 or 66 subscribers, man. You guys are doing good. I appreciate you guys. Whenever we get to 5K, let me know. I'll try to do some kind of giveaway. I know the last one I get like a gift card or something, like a $60 gift card or something like that. But at 5K, keep throwing your suggestions. Somebody said 5-hour live stream. Somebody said 24-hour live stream. So just throwing out, keep throwing out suggestions, and whatever I see more of, I'll probably just make a poll or something and have you guys decide. Play with me. He said play with you. Shit. If y'all get on, I can. Hello. Much love and support. Thank you, Omoy. Yo Games. I appreciate you. Nothing to see here. What's up? But for now, let's get it. Ow! 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 Let's go.
5. This 911 call lacks being a real call. However,
Let me know if
it
the volume
has
is
brought
good.
fear and speculation that the Slender Man may be real.
Yes, you did, Thornton.
911,
Mr.
what is your
Baller.
emergency?
Someone followed me and my brother home from school. Our parents are not home.
Have you seen this person before?
No. Can you please send help?
Where are you now?
That sounds kind of cap.
At home, in the living room. I'm looking out the front window. The tall man is scaring us.
Where is this guy?
In front of the house.
What is he doing?
He's standing behind a tree. He's very tall. Help us. I'm scared.
Oh, no. It sounds kind of cap, in my opinion.
What was that?
I don't know. The lights went out. I'm scared.
Help is on the way.
Cap.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
What's happening?
He's looking at me. He has no face. His face is gone.
Calm down. Does he have a mask on?
No.
Bruh, this is the worst. I'm sorry. This is the worst acting I've ever seen. This is not no police phone call. This is, oh my god. Just looking at this is kind of like cringe. I kind of want to skip it, but for those of you that are still interested, I'm probably just going to still go through it and look at it. But that's 100% cap, bro. She's way too calm and that little, like, no, bro. Like, come on now. Like, come on, man. Like, really? I get it. Like, Slender Man, I heard the stories and stuff, but like, come on, bro. This is just horrible. Not Nightmare 5, but whoever recorded this.
He's coming. He's coming.
Calm down. Help is on the way. As long as he's outside and you're inside, you'll be fine. Describe him to me.
He has a suit on and a tie. He's very tall. He has long arms. He's bald. I'm scared.
Mr. Clean?
Be
Oh my
brave, okay?
God.
I want you to be strong right now. It's going to be fine. I'm here with
When are
you.
you coming?
How's your brother doing?
He's not doing anything. He's acting strange.
Why I hear Slender Man? I couldn't
What
even
is he
tell
doing?
Staring.
you.
He's staring at me.
Is he scared?
No.
Yes.
He's
Yeah, I'm
not
dead.
saying
Very
anything.
cringy.
How old is he?
9.
What is the tall man doing now? What's the matter?
He's in front of the window, facing me.
Back away from the window, get your brother, go into the restroom, and lock the door.
Have you ever seen somebody so scared that they're able to sit there and watch him keep getting closer to you? Like, yeah, I see him. He's behind the tree. Yes, now he's moving closer to me. And now he's at the front door. And now he's knocking on the door. He's unlocked. Like, come on, bruh. Like, why don't you go upstairs? You know what I'm saying? Lock your brother somewhere. Why you just keep sitting there watching the? Yeah, like wouldn't you be screaming or running out the back door or something, bro? Grab your. Oh no, bro. Arm your kids, man. Give your kids semi-automatic weapons or something. Send them to school right next to the pencil cases, bro. They pull out. Like, what's happening? No, not for real. Don't do that. But this is cap.
Young lady, are you okay?
That's not no
Hello?
young lady scream.
Are you there? Hello? Young lady, are you okay?
I'm fine now. I'm not scared anymore. The tall man just wants to play. He's my friend.
Where is he? They're with me now. They're safe. Who are you? She will be missed. Sir, please don't do this. I see you, operator. You're scared. I feel your worries and your doubts. The one you call Nightmare will be mine too. How do you know my daughter's? How do you know my daughter's name? Goodbye. Hello? Hello? Fuck, I gotta get home.
Number 4.
Oh.
This one.
Bruh, why does it sound like he was reading from a script? What'd you call it? The dispatcher. He was like, ma'am, are you okay? Sir, please, don't do it. You have so much to live for. Like, come on, bro. That shit. Oh my God, that was bad. I'm sorry, y'all. You have to understand. I don't look at these videos like before. I just select stuff that looks cool or what people tell me, and then I go and look at it. So maybe number 4 will be better.
A woman is home alone with her baby when a man tries to break into her house.
Police department.
The man is trying to break in my door. I don't know who he is. He said let me in.
He's doing what?
He's trying to break in my door.
What is your address?
29.
What's your name, ma'am?
Karen.
Karen? I want you to stay on the telephone. Okay?
Okay.
Where are you now?
I locked the front door and I'm
Okay.
upstairs in the bedroom.
This one sounds real.
With you?
No, just my baby.
Karen, are you still there?
He's in the house. He broke through the door.
He broke in. Karen, are you still there?
Uh-huh.
Shut the bedroom door. Lock it if you can and come right back to the phone.
He's at the door.
What?
He's at the door. He's here. He's here.
Are you still with me? Tell him you've got the police on the phone.
Yeah, this is real.
I've got the police on the phone. Who are you? Why are you here?
He's in the bedroom with her.
I've got the police on the phone. I've got the police on the phone. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why?
Dang, that sucks.
Karen?
Number 3. This call is disturbing due to the fact that the victim, Ruth, was murdered while calling 911.
Dang, she was murdered while calling 911. See, this is why you gotta strap yourselves, people. I am telling you, bruh. I don't know why he told her to do that, to tell her you got the police on the phone. Maybe he was like, oh, that's going to scare me. It can do one or two things. Maybe it could have scared somebody, but at the same time, people already know police are not pulling up for another 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on your location. And you telling him that the police is on the phone just gives him a kind of like a timer of how much time he has left to either rob you or kill you or both. So me personally, I think it's better to kind of like arm yourself. I know there's people out there talking about like, oh, I don't feel right owning a weapon or a gun. Just have one. You can shoot into a sky. Me personally, if I was robbing somebody's house, which I wouldn't, but if I were to, and somebody shot a round off in the air, bro, my ass would be out the front door, the window, the refrigerator, wherever it is, a secret crawl space, bro, I'm out of there, bro. I'm not about to get shot in the ass trying to get in somebody's house. You get what I'm saying? It's better to have it and not need it, and then to need it to not have it, and need it and not have it. Let's go. Have a cramp in it. Yeah, there you go. A taser, some pepper spray. I got the Glocky ready. Yeah, you got the stupid. Got the icky with the blicky.
What's the problem, ma'am?
Oh, well, there's some guy been checking the place out.
How?
Well, He went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy. And he comes to my door, and said he's looking for an apartment. So I live alone, and I'm an old lady.
Oh, man.
Where is he now, ma'am? I don't have no idea.
Yeah. Damn, he attacked her while she was on the phone.
Number 2. The man in this call is calling about a break-in. Little does he know about who broke into his house.
Dang, son.
Do you require assistance?
I couldn't be a dispatcher, bro.
I am notifying the police. Are you at apartment 2?
Please get someone over here.
I won't, sir.
But I need you to confirm your address first.
It's apartment 2.
Okay, the police are on their way, but I need you to calm down. Do you know if it's a man or a
I
woman?
don't know. I just saw the back of their head. Its scalp was ripped off.
Excuse me, sir?
Its skin was hanging off the side of its head. He started towards me, but
What was that?
everything just started shaking.
Are you able to get to an exit?
No, I'm in a closet.
All right, I need you to stay calm.
Oh my God.
Do you have anything you can use to protect?
There's some coat hangers.
Okay, take one of the hangers and straighten it
They're
out.
all
A coat hanger? What you gonna do? Put his shirt in the closet? Like, a coat hanger? I mean, it's better than nothing, bro. Like a knife. I take a Timberland, bro. A damn coat hanger. What you gonna do with that, bro? Like, hang up his dress shirt? Like, oh man, bro. Y'all gotta have something, bro. This is killing me, man. Y'all just letting people take y'all out like this. This is wild.
plastic.
Okay, sir. Is there anything else? What is happening? Sir?
Alright, it's at the door.
The police are only a few minutes away. I just need you to hang on a little longer.
I'm so scared. I'm so... Oh my God!
Sir?
I'm
Sir,
Casper.
are you there? Sir?
This was kind of cap, but I don't know.
This one
I
isn't
don't know.
too scary, but it's very heartbreaking. Nikki, the caller, found his brother dead due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
You said wire coat hangers are deadly when straightened. Shit. Tell that to somebody with a damn shotgun in their hand.
Emergency 911. Help me, my brother's dead. What's your name? Mickey. What do you mean by your brother's dead? He killed himself. How did he do it? With a gun. Okay, are you home alone? Well, I'm home alone with my sister. Okay, get someone here quick. Did you just find him, Nikki? Yeah, no, he's dead. Nikki, stay on the phone with me, hon, okay?
Dang. No, that was the end of the video. But, yeah, man. Like, that sucks. Especially you have to do it in front of your little brother and sister there. That's some shit, bro. They ain't gonna never forget that. They're gonna have to live with that the rest of their life. But yeah, man, if you guys aren't having those kind of thoughts, man, I'd rather you talk to somebody or talk to me than to do that, because that's crazy, bro. That's insane. But moving on to the next video. The next one is Mr. Nightmare's. So thank you, Jake Kate, for sending me that video. But that first one and that third one, when he said, "Hi, I'm Casper," both of those was cap, but the other three were pretty real. So appreciate the video. Like I said, if you guys have any recommendations, feel free to let me know, and I will go check them out. Right? Ooh, shit, excuse me. But right now, we're about to be moving into Mr. Nightmare's three true disturbing warehouse stories. Mr. Nightmare never disappoints, so we're about to go in here. I personally never worked at a warehouse, but I've heard of some people experiencing some kind of encounters working at a warehouse, so I don't know. Copy that. Isn't it? Copy it or shit. It's not something bad. Copy it or huh? There's a lot of hotlines that help. Let's go. Mr. Nightmare is better. I made it. What's up, Loriax? Is it just me or the YouTube comment's not working, or just me? I can see your comment. Alright, so we're about to be jumping into this video. This video, like I said, is by Mr. Nightmare. So if you guys want to watch the video in entirety, because you know I like to pause through things and talk through them with you guys. If you guys don't like that, feel free to swoop down to the description box, click on the link, and go watch it for yourself. And for those of you that are, let's get it. Story 1 by Sean Keith Williams. Sheesh. No, not for real.
I was assigned as a security guard with the midnight shift at a very large Omaha warehouse when I was a young man. This building was mainly used for storage and it was huge. We as security personnel were tasked with hitting several stations inside this building on the night shift, and this required that we did a lot of walking. There would always be 2 personnel assigned to the warehouse at night, one patrolling the outside perimeter in a car, and one inside the warehouse on foot. Being outside, sitting in the comfort of a car was obviously the more desirable of the two. I was working a Wednesday night. I was about half an hour into my shift. I would start the shifts walking around for about an hour, just surveilling the place before sitting down in one of the security offices. This room had some low-budget, ancient camera system that at the time was impressive technology, but it only had 2 screens because there were only 2 cameras in the entire warehouse.
2 cameras?
One in the northeast corner and one in the southwest corner.
Red
That's
flag.
why we couldn't just sit on our butts in the security office our entire shifts and had to actually patrol the place. This was a shared warehouse for some tech companies, and a lot of expensive equipment was held here, hence why 2 security guards would have to be there every single night. The warehouse layout was similar to that of a regular grocery store. There were like 10 to 15 aisles, and one intersecting aisle that cuts between the other 10 to 15 in the middle. I was still making my initial rounds around the place, when I saw all the way down at the end of the aisle I was in, something at the end section. It was like this white thing that kind of resembled the shape of a head.
Time to
and
clock
it was
out.
poking out from behind the end section. Mind you, it was so far away that all I could make from it was this white-looking object. I elevated my slow stroll to a moderately quick speed walk, and halfway through the aisle, the white thing disappeared behind the tower of boxes. This confirmed my fear that it was a person,
Shift
and that I
over.
wasn't alone in there. I now ran to the end of the aisle, hoping to see the other night guard walking around or something. As I stood in the southwest corner of this giant warehouse, I looked up at the camera in the corner, and it was pointing in the direction of the thing I just saw. I looked in that direction, and there it was again, at maybe the 7th aisle, that white thing I saw earlier. Well, now it was a lot closer, and I could make it out to be someone's face,
Hell
as I
no.
feared. But it wasn't the other security guard. It was this extremely pale, ghoulish-looking face. They once again slowly hid their face behind the tower of boxes. I walkie-talkied the other guard on duty, and he radioed back that he was in the car by the back section of the parking lot. He said roger that, he'd be here in 5. Getting off the phone with him, I was nervous to approach the aisle that I saw the person's head. Even though this is exactly what a security guard's purpose and job is, you never actually expect or anticipate seeing any action. I took a deep breath and ran to that aisle and stopped at the end of it to look down it. The person wasn't in sight. I figured they must have ran for it.
Bro, it's not a person, bro. You just said it looked like a whitish, ghoulish face. Like, why would you keep running? If you're look, bro, if you're on shift, man, it's only 2 of y'all on shift, and one person says he's somewhere else. Why the hell are you still chasing this thing around, bro? There's only 2 cameras, so obviously this thing is in a blind spot. It knows where the cameras are. You're not about to catch it lacking, bro. Get out of there. Clock out. Overtime's over, bro. Come back tomorrow. Get a new job, bro. Go work at Amazon or some shit. Like, just get out of there. Why are you setting yourself up on this? Like, why do everybody have to investigate? Why can't you just take that L and just be like, you know what? I was tired that night. Maybe I was seeing things or something. I need a Red Bull or something to give me wings. Why are you still investigating stuff? Like, stop investigating, man. I was sitting here. I went back and I watched Jeepers Creepers, right? The first one. If anybody watched Jeepers Creepers, I don't want to spoil it. It's about to be a spoiler right now. But the Jeepers Creepers part, all he had to do was keep driving. That's it. If they would have just kept driving and called the police and have the police dispatched out there, the police would have been fine. He probably would have went for the police, but at the same time, you'd have been home free. You'd have made it back to your mom's house, been chilling, having beers, drinking, eating food, all that, bro. But no, you had to go down in the basement and see it for yourself. Why? Like, for what? Like why? Why do you have to go down there? You confirmed that it was a white sheet with blood on it. Why the hell do you have to go down there and see it? Like, stop investigating, man. Damn.
so I ran halfway down hoping to catch up to them, but I stopped when I smelled this horrible putrid odor. It smelled like a dead, rotting carcass. I followed the scent until it became overwhelming, and I found the source of it. It was coming from this big wooden box that was different from the rest of the boxes. I pulled the lid off the box, and inside was a dead body laying in a pool of blood.
See?
The most shocking part of it was that it was missing a head. I walkie-talkied to the other security guard again, and yelled at him to call the police and report a dead body in the warehouse. I said this all while running as fast as I could to the back exit of the warehouse, struggling to get enough air. I threw up the second I made it out the door. I ran to the other security guard's car and sat in there with him, gasping for air. He was still on the phone with the police, so I took the phone and told them whatever the other security guy didn't. Given the nature of the situation, they sent like 5 or 6 cop cars and basically had the entire place surrounded.
Sounds about right.
The body was loaded into an ambulance, and for a good chunk of the night, police were in the warehouse doing forensic work. Perhaps the weirdest part of all of this was that when trying to go back to the video footage captured from the night before, the footage cut out for about 3 hours in the middle of the night. There was no explanation for this happening. I've thought about this night for almost my entire life, basically. I don't believe in ghosts or anything, but I don't really have an explanation for this.
Me either.
I've thought about some far-fetched possibilities, though, like that whoever the murderer was in the warehouse that night and was holding up the severed head of that body, hence why it looks so pale and ghoulish. In fact, it gave me chills just now thinking about it again.
But my thing is, I'm sorry to stop it again, but my thing is what doesn't make sense to me. He said the body smelled, right? So what you're telling me is that body been sitting there for a long time, because it takes a minute before that body starts stinking, bruh. So I don't get that part of him smelling it, because why would you kill a dead body, come back a certain night, and then hold his head around corners, and then say you was looking and you seen something. He said he smelled something coming from one of the boxes, so it was just like, did you come back to the scene of the crime, or I don't know, Brandon. Oh. Story 2 by Taylor Smith.
Several years ago, 2 friends and I heard from a mutual friend about this creepy abandoned warehouse or furniture store that was only a few miles from my house. One night while on a drive, the 3 of us decided to check it out. We parked at a Walgreens a few hundred yards from the warehouse and started walking towards it. As we got closer, my friend, I'll call him Jim, kinda chickened out and stayed back while me and my other friend, I'll call Mark, continued on.
Good job, Jim.
As we approached the right side of the building, it became very obvious that this place had been abandoned for a very long time. The front entrance was boarded up, and there were vines and ivy growing all over the building. Our mutual friend said that the only way in was through a busted-in wall in the back.
Red flag.
We went around back, and sure enough, there was a broken-in narrow section of wall we could get in through. We stepped in, and it was completely dark. We couldn't see our hands in front of our faces, so we turned on the flashlights on our phones and looked around. There was trash and debris everywhere on the concrete floors. We were in what appeared to be the main room of the old store, and it was huge. An entire football field could probably fit in this room. We could even hear an echo when we talked. We started looking along the walls, which were covered in graffiti. The graffiti was littered with what must have been gang symbols as well as profanity, as you would expect.
Super smart.
What was really unsettling, though, was that as we moved further along the back wall, the graffiti was getting more and more disturbing. One of them read, "Kill yourself tonight,"
Red
and
flag.
the graffiti was getting satanic. There were tons of inverted crosses, pentagrams, 666s, and violent scenes depicted. While this stuff was creepy enough, it wasn't the worst of what we saw. Towards the end of the building, there were some steps leading to smaller rooms. As we shone our lights on the steps, we saw a large, dry pool of what was probably blood all over the steps. This deterred us from exploring the smaller rooms beyond, so we headed to the left side of the room.
Just leave, bruh.
As we were walking, our lights caught something hanging from the ceiling. We got closer and saw what it was. It was a noose, still hanging from one of the rafters. It became very obvious that the people that come to this place use it for very evil purposes.
Rituals.
After that, we decided we'd spend enough time in there and headed for the hole in the wall we entered through. We got outside and saw that there was another, smaller building/warehouse behind the main one. Despite the freaky things we saw inside, we were still curious and decided to check this one out too.
Jesus. Why?
One thing that was very odd was that there was a small room in the front of the warehouse that had no doors, only one window. Inside was a large inverted cross hanging from the decrepit ceiling. We came to the left side of the warehouse where the large garage-style entrance was. This building was similar to the first one. It was one large empty room with tons of trash everywhere. There was more disturbing graffiti. However, there were these holes at the base of the walls that were really odd looking. We shined our lights down them but couldn't see the bottom. What were these for? We had seen enough at this point and headed back outside. It was then that my friend Mark got a call from Jim. As he was talking to Jim, his face suddenly changed to a downright horrified expression. I said, "What's wrong?" What he said next sent a chill down my spine. "Someone else is here," he said.
Oh, hell no.
Before we could even turn to run, a white truck peeled around the corner at an alarming speed, heading right towards us. We started booking it towards my car, and as we got around the other back corner of the building, we saw another black truck parked alongside. But we kept running as fast as we could, and thankfully the three of us made it back to my car. We got in and peeled out of there. I don't know what those guys in the trucks were there for, or why they chased after us. But based on what we saw in those buildings, it wasn't anything good. Thankfully, we never found out, and we never returned to that place.
Jim never found out either because he didn't go in. And guess who Jim is? Me. I ain't going nowhere, bruh. If you ever try to, if I'm ever hanging out with you, you're like, "Oh, let's go try something." Bruh, I'm checking the bus schedule and I'm getting out of the car, bruh. Or I'm calling an Uber. One of the two. I am not going anywhere unless I am strapped. 100%. I don't care if it's Ghost. I don't care if it's Bigfoot. I don't care if it's a house full of gangbangers, bruh. I don't care if it was a whole house full of Crip sheeps. I don't care, bruh. I am not going anywhere without a weapon in my hand. I'm not going anywhere without a spare phone battery. Somebody better have a satellite phone. Somebody better have given some 3 or 4 people our location. If I'm not back by this time, bruh, this is where I am. You need these kind of people on your team. Not the people say, "I'm going to park 100 feet away and walk over to a dark, creepy, satanic, hidden place and then get chased down by a wrong turn truck, bruh." Like, it's not going down that way. I'm not going down that way. It's not happening. So, if you ever need me to go anywhere, I would kindly give you a reprisal Zim's application that you need to fill out, and let your lawyer read it so that you know that me and you are under, or what terms I am agreeing to, and what you must abide by in order to get me to come with you. Just saying. Be like Jim, like Low React said. Hell no. By Tuesday, oh, he got a nickname. He knows about to be bad.
In my mid-20s, I used to be a party planner and event coordinator. I was basically in charge of throwing dope parties for this record label group. I'd have to rent out venues for a night or weekends, which would allow us to host our events in these places. Usually we wouldn't pay until after the event, and the landlord or owner of whatever property we were using would take a cut of the profits. There was this one time that my group rented this big warehouse for an entire weekend, and we would be hosting parties Friday and Saturday night.
That's not bad.
Once the place was rented out, I had to do a lot of setting up, which included setting up tables for bottle service, setting up portable bars, and a DJ stand.
I got a lot of those on my
A
channel.
lot of work would go into these kinds of pop-up venues, but they were always extremely profitable. My buddy Jack, who was also on the event planning team, was helping me on the Wednesday before the party weekend. He drove a truck full of equipment to the empty parking lot that the warehouse sat in. I was having trouble figuring out how to get the power to a certain part of the warehouse activated. I looked for any kind of electrical panel or circuit breaker box, but I was having trouble finding one. I gave the building owner I dealt with a call, and he picked up almost right away. His name's Carter. He told me exactly where to go for the electrical panel that would turn on the specific lights I was looking for. He directed me to a door that had an exit sign on top of it, but it wasn't on. Through this door, I was in a very short, very narrow space with a door on one side which I presume led to the outside,
Red
and
flag.
then a half flight of stairs on the other side. I was supposed to go down this half flight of stairs, which led to another tight space with a couple doors. This room was hard to explain without just seeing it for yourself.
Hell no,
I'm
Shannon.
6'4", so I had to bend down a little bit just so my head wouldn't hit the ceiling. That's how cramped it was down there. This level had very dim nightlight kind of lights hung on the ceiling. Dim but enough light to navigate just fine. I found the electrical panel, and Carter told me exactly which switches to flip. Then I shut the panel door and turned the key to lock it, even though he told me to just leave the key in the lock. I thanked him and our call ended. I heard a loud and obvious buzzing sound that would be going off in spasms. I followed the sound of it to a door leading to a pitch black room.
See?
Pulling the door open was hard as it scraped against the concrete floor. There was this red light in the top corner of the room that synchronized with the buzzing sound. When the buzzing stopped, the light would also turn off. I was trying to figure out what it was, but it didn't make sense. I stepped deeper into the room and noticed whenever I moved, the light would turn on and the buzzing would sound. When I stood still, it stopped. I don't know why, but I was creeped out, so I went back to the doorway of the room. I took one more look inside, and the red light turned on again, lighting up the room with this eerie red glow.
Nope.
I decided to call Carter and tell him about the potential problem with the light and the buzzing. He told me calmly that the light was a motion sensor, and the buzzing was because that one in the basement was busted. I asked what he meant by motion sensor, and he explained that there's at least one in every room in the building, as it's part of the security system. I looked back into the room, and the light was still on. I asked what could be setting it off in there, and he said he had no idea. And that's when I spotted it. There was someone, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman because of the long, disheveled hair, sitting in one corner of this room, half hidden behind a pile of old boxes. Their eyes were the most noticeable feature because of how goddamn wide they were open. The mouth was like a half smile, and they were moving their arm in a manner that was as if to tell me to come here.
Hell no.
I know it took me a few seconds to describe this person just now, but I was literally screaming at the sight of them in under a second. I slammed that door shut and ran back up the stairs and out that exit door. I told Carter we were leaving and not using the warehouse anymore. I didn't ask any more questions after that. I didn't care, it was his problem.
Facts.
I yelled at Jack to get everything he could back into the truck. We collected our stuff as quickly as possible, loaded the truck back up, and left. I didn't even bother locking the door to the warehouse. I just wanted to be far away from there. I still today don't know what to make of it. The Carter guy seems so weirdly calm about Mike telling him about a deranged-looking person in the basement of his warehouse.
Yeah.
Thinking back, that light was probably going off because of that person sitting in the corner waving me over, or doing whatever the hell he or she was doing with their arm. It was a truly nightmare-inducing, horrible experience.
Oh, that's scary as shit. Yo, this is why you check your corners, people. When you in a place you never been, bro, you gotta look in that whole room. So that whole time, he's like, why does it keep going off? So that whole time, she was in a corner like this, or doing like this, or something like that, and it kept going off. Like, he's like, what the heck? So while he's standing there on the phone, talking about something, oh yeah, the lights are going off, this person is legit over here in the corner, looking at this dude the entire time. So she could have rushed him at any moment, bruh. Oh my God. And the fact that she was sitting in there so still because the light was off until he opened the door, bruh, which means she was sitting in the dark for God knows how long, just sitting there, not moving, not doing anything, bruh. She was just sitting in the dark. And he was just, like he said, he was just chill about it. I don't know why he was, but somebody in my damn warehouse, bruh, you got some questions to answer, bruh. 100%. But that video was by Mr. Nightmare, so if you guys want to watch that in its entirety while me pausing and talking and all that stuff, you know where to find it down in the description box. And last but not least,
this story is going to be...
we have Mr. Ballin. This video was recommended to me by Merlin Thomas, I believe. So we're going to see it. He says very sad, so if you guys don't want to see something sad or make possibly disturbing, click out now, and you got your warning, and I believe he's going to give you a warning as well, probably. Because he said mature audience in the description. So, be on the lookout for that. Bro, she was trying to sleep. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know where she was eating. Or maybe she lived there, but I don't know how she was in there. If he gave him the keys to unlock the warehouse and went inside the warehouse and then she was down there. So, yeah. Oops. All right. Where am I? Alright. Damn, I keep clicking out of the chat box. Imagine this low. Yeah. But yeah. This video is called These Tools Put 3 People on Death Row. This video is by Mr. Ballin. So if you haven't already, be sure to swoop down the description box, click on that link, go watch the video to the entirety. I'll be pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. If you guys made it this far into the live stream and you're liking my channel, be sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all my notifications when I do live streams, or when I drop videos, or when I post comments to get you guys' opinion on something and all that good stuff. But let's get it. You're that dumb guy. You hear that she runs a track star, then she runs at you. Bruh, she would have got the biggest two-piece combo with no biscuit, bruh. Plot twist if the guy had her down the kick. Oh, that is true. Maybe he was telling her to come help her because she was handcuffed or something. Who knows? That is true because he sounded pretty calm. So I don't know. I wish he could have went more in depth with that story. But let's get it.
This story is going to be painful to listen to. It's a horrific tragedy, and there's really no other way to tell it without it coming off that way. And so viewer discretion is advised. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place because that's all we do. We upload 3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please go into the Like Button's favorite music playlist and replace all of the songs with the Kids Bop version of them. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story.
Let's go. It's about to be lit. Betrayed.
In the early 1960s, 2 high school classmates in South Carolina named Carol and Reggie fell in love with each other. Every day in the halls, they'd hold hands and they'd laugh with each other and whisper to each other, and then outside of school, they were inseparable. But despite their seemingly perfect relationship, it didn't last long. They both had different ideas about what the future should hold, and so after graduation, they broke up. Reggie went on to join the US Navy, where he served for a number of years all over the world. He would at one point get married, but that marriage would end quickly. And then after he got out of the military, he got a job at a railroad back at his hometown in South Carolina. As for Carol, after graduation, she got married and divorced too, twice actually, but it was her second failed marriage that nearly killed her. On February 18th, 1987, Carol was living with her 10-year-old daughter, Rhonda, in South Carolina when her estranged second husband came up to the door and knocked. Carol opened the door, and her ex-husband drew a gun and shot her 6 times in front of her daughter before turning around and fleeing. The police would later find his body inside of his car on the side of the road. He had shot himself. As for Carol, the doctors were able to save her life, but the injuries she sustained from the attack were crippling. She was blind in one eye and she had chronic pain, and so her young daughter had to start taking care of her full time. Over the next 8 years, Carol steadily improved and regained some of her independence, but in 1995, she had a huge setback. She started feeling ill, and so she went in to see a doctor, and the doctor did a blood test, and they discovered she had liver cancer. It would turn out the blood that was given to her after the attack that had been transfused into her body to save her life, it had been tainted with hepatitis C. And so she got hepatitis C without.
Oh my goodness, bruh. I would sue the shit out of this place, bruh. You telling me you saved me with hepatitis C blood? How do you even mix that up with normal blood? How? They gave this woman hepatitis C, bruh. Can you imagine surviving 6 gunshot wounds only to be taken to a place that's supposed to help you and it made things worse, bruh? They gave her hepatitis C. Oh my God.
Realizing it, and because it had been untreated, it led to liver cancer. Rhonda remembers when her mother came home after being given this terrible news, she just sat down and was silent for a minute, and then she just kind of muttered to herself, I just can't get away from this man. He's killing me all over again. But despite being dealt such an unfair hand in life, Carol was determined to not let her injuries or her illness define her. And so she went out looking for a job that could accommodate her physical limitations, and she found it. She was hired as a part-time customer service rep for a television cable company. She was very happy about this job and very proud of it because it was the first time she was working after the attack, and so for once it felt like her life was going back to normal again. A few years later, in 2000, when Carol was working at the cable company, her phone rang and she answered it the way she answered every other call, but the voice she heard on the other end, she immediately recognized. He introduced himself as Reggie Sumner, and so Carol asked him, are you the Reggie Sumner from 1962 at Garrett High School in South Carolina? And he said, yeah, that's me. And Carol said, I'm your ex-girlfriend. We dated in high school.
Wow,
and so it was this incredible reunion, this totally chance phone call. And for the next hour or so, they just chatted on the phone about everything from their kids to their relationships they've been in to what they're up to now. I mean, they had a lot to catch up on since they hadn't seen or heard from each other in nearly 40 years. And so before they hung up, they realized they lived near each other, and so they made plans to get together in person. Rhonda would say her mother, when she came home that night, was like a 16-year-old girl all over again. She talked endlessly about how great Reggie was and how good-looking he was and how excited she was about their upcoming date. And so a couple of days later, Carol and Reggie have this date, and when Carol comes home, Rhonda would say it was obvious her mother had fallen head over heels in love with Reggie all over again. And luckily, Reggie had fallen in love with Carol too, because less than 6 months later, they got married and became Mr. and Mrs. Sumner. Within a year of their marriage, they decided to sell their home in South Carolina and move to Jacksonville, Florida to retire. Even though caring for her mother for all those years had been quite difficult for Rhonda, she said she was very sad to see her mother go, but at the same time, she was really happy for her because it seemed like she had found the one. Over the next couple of years, Rhonda stayed in touch with her mother, speaking to her almost every single day on the phone. But in July of 2005, Rhonda's mother stopped answering her phone. At first, Rhonda wasn't that concerned, but after 24 hours of not hearing from her mother or from Reggie, she did get concerned. Because even though Reggie was able to care for Carol, he wasn't in the best shape himself. He had debilitating diabetes, and he had recently broken his leg, and so was largely confined to a wheelchair.
I don't know, bro. He might be nice, but I'm not getting that vibe from him. He looks terrifying to me. I don't know, bro. He kind of look like a little serial killer, kind of. I don't know the rest of the story, but I'm not getting good vibes from just looking at him. I don't know. Her eyes and his eyes are two different things. You can kind of see, like, you know, I don't know how you say it. Like, you can see, but his shit just look like you staring into an abyss or something. I don't know.
And so if they were to leave their house for an extended period of time, they wouldn't do it without asking for help from Rhonda. And so over the next couple of days, Rhonda incessantly called her mother and called Reggie, but she never got through to them. And so finally, after almost 72 hours of not hearing from them, she decides to just hop in her car and drive the 4 hours to Jacksonville to check on them personally. When she got there, she saw her mother and Reggie's car was not in the driveway like it normally would be. And so Rhonda went up to the front door and she knocked and she's yelling for her mom, but nobody's coming to the door, even though lights are on inside the house. And so Rhonda eventually tries the handle of the door and it's open. And so she opens it up, she steps inside, she yells again for her mom and for Reggie, but no one yells back. And then she sees their beloved dog, Mikey, that they brought everywhere with them, was still in the house. And so she's thinking, where would they have gone without bringing Mikey? And so Rhonda continues to walk through the house into the kitchen. And when she gets there, she sees on the table are 2 plates of food where the food looks like it's a couple of days old and it's just sitting on the plate like they had been eating it and then just abandoned it there. And then in the sink are all these dirty dishes, and then on the stove are half-cooked pots of food. And Rhonda knows her mother is an extremely tidy person and she never would have left her house with dirty dishes and food out on the table. And so red flags are going up for Rhonda, but what ultimately sealed the deal for her was when she turned and looked on one of the counters, she saw the cell phone that Reggie and Carol shared was still sitting there along with Carol's purse, and then next to that was both of their medications, which was Reggie's insulin and Carol's liver cancer medication, both of which were life-saving and needed to be taken every single day. There's no way they would have left the house without those things. And so Rhonda immediately calls the Jacksonville Police Department and she files a missing person report. And before long, the missing couple's story is all over the news and all of the networks are asking people if they have information to come forward. But no one came forward. And so the only lead the police had was to track down the Sumner's car, which was missing from their driveway when Rhonda showed up at their house. So the police shared the description of their vehicle all across the state, and very quickly they got a hit. The car had been found abandoned in a Florida town about 1 hour west of Jacksonville. It had been parked in this semi-forested, very secluded area off of a dirt road, and there was nothing inside of it, but they saw the battery had been taken out, leading some of the officers to speculate that perhaps the Sumners really had just driven away from their home without telling anybody and then ran into car troubles. But that theory would quickly be thrown out the window when 5 hours later, the Jacksonville police received a very strange phone call. The man who called in said he was Reggie Sumner, and he said he had seen the news about him and his wife being missing and that was just totally not true, that in reality they had left, but they were just fine and they'd be back soon. The police are immediately suspicious of this person. They don't think it's Reggie Sumner because, for one, he sounds like a young man and Reggie is a 61-year-old. And so the voice didn't really line up. And just the way he was talking about this disappearance like it was no big deal, that also just didn't really make sense. And so one of the officers asked Reggie, "Are you with your wife, Carol?" And he said, "Yep, I'm with her. Here she is." And so a woman hops on the phone who says she's Carol Sumner, but she sounds far too young to be Carol Sumner, who's 61. This sounds like a 18, 19, 20-year-old girl. And she too just reiterates that everything's just fine and they've gone out for a couple of days. There's nothing to worry about. And,
And this is where the dummies get caught. This is where dummy criminals always get caught. Like police always say, only the dumb ones get caught. Every smart criminal hasn't been caught, bro, or died doing stuff. They took it to the grave. But you really about to call the police station in the middle of a hunt and not call the daughter first? Like, you don't know nothing about the people that you just took or whatever you did with those people. You don't know what kind of routine that they have. If they called their daughter every day, and then out of nowhere they don't get a phone call for 2 days, and then you're able to call the police back, but not able to call your daughter back, the one that's been taking care of you the entire time. Like, come on, bro. Like, that was just stupid. You had a better chance not saying anything at all than saying, oh yeah, this is her right here. Like, bro, you can't mimic an old person like that, bro, unless you're just really good at it. But that was just dumb.
You police can stop looking for us. And so after this call ends, the police at this point are convinced that this simply cannot be Carol and Reggie. But to make sure, they call in Rhonda and they have her listen to the recording of this conversation with the so-called Reggie and Carol. And right away, Rhonda says, that's not my mom and that's not Reggie. And so at this point, the police assumed that these two people who called in pretending to be the Sumners probably had something to do with the disappearance of the real Sumners.
You don't say.
And so while they waited for the trace on this phone call to come back, which would give them information about who was calling and from where, the police decided to investigate another angle. The police looked at the Sumners' bank statements and they saw their bank card had been used at an ATM in South Carolina after the Sumners had been reported missing. And so they called that bank and they asked for the CCTV footage from that ATM. And when they watched it, they saw that it was not Carol or Reggie Sumner withdrawing funds. It was some unknown man in his early 20s.
Dummy.
Right after this discovery of this unknown man, the trace from the phone conversation with the imposter Sumners came back, except it was tied to a fake name at a fake address. So that wasn't helpful to the police in their investigation. However, when they went through this cell phone's call logs, which they got with the phone trace, they saw whoever owned the cell phone had recently placed a call to a car rental company in South Carolina. And so the police call this car rental company and they speak to the manager and they're able to figure out that somebody using this cell phone number had indeed called and had rented a car, and the car they rented matched the description of the car the unknown man was driving in the ATM surveillance footage. But this car had been rented to a woman. Her name was Tiffany Cole. The rental company told police that all of their cars had satellite tracking information built into them. And so police were able to use that information to track Tiffany's rental car to a motel in South Carolina. The initial thought was that maybe the Sumners are being held against their will in this motel. And so very quickly, a police force was organized, and on the morning of July 14th, so 6 days after the Sumners were listed as missing, they arrive at this motel. They go to the front desk, they find out what room Tiffany is in, they get the key, and they go up and they open the door. The Sumners were not inside. Instead, there were 3 young adults sitting there. It was 24-year-old Tiffany Cole, her boyfriend, 23-year-old Michael James Jackson, and his friend, 19-year-old Alan Wade. Also in the room were dozens of bags of recently purchased merchandise, like computers and video games and clothes and perfume.
Wow.
And also, they discovered the key to the Sumners' vehicle and Reggie Sumner's prized coin collection. The police brought all 3 back to the police station and put them in separate rooms to be interrogated. At this point, it was obvious to police that these 3 had something to do with the Sumners' disappearance. They had all these things in the room that tied them to the missing couple. And so now the police, as they interrogated them, it was not so much about connecting them to the Sumners as much as it was about helping them find the Sumners.
It wasn't, damn, the investigators are good at their job. It's not even that they're good at it. It was just that the people were so stupid that you just told on yourself. Like, why would you call the police and say, oh, I'm fine, everything's all fine, stop looking for us? Like, that's a red flag. That's you just telling me, hey, I had something to do with it. Stop looking into the case or you're going to find me. And then your dumbass rent a car from somewhere that have tracking devices on the car. And then you go to an ATM with not even a hat, not even sunglasses, not even a mat, like nothing. You just go up to the ATM, bro, face it all like you don't know they got cameras at ATM these days. Like, come on, bro. And then on top of that, you still have their car keys. Why? And then you got all the stuff. Like, at least wait a couple of months or days, or, you know, why would you go out and buy all that? Like, that was just stupid. Like, that's why I say criminals are dumb. That's why they always get caught, because they do stupid stuff. And usually they do it in groups, and you know somebody in that group is going to tell on you. That's why you shouldn't do stuff in packs. That's why most of the time serial killers work alone. You can't place people with them because why? They're the only one there. So who else is going to see them unless there's a witness around? That's why. That's why dumb people get caught. You can't do stuff in groups. That's just the nature of it, because someone's going to tell on you, bruh. If it's between you and them getting a lesser sentence, they're going to tell on you, bruh. I don't care who it is, bruh. You could have been best friends since damn high school or elementary, bruh. If it's going to work out in their favor, they're going to tell on you because they're going to think about their life first and then yours later. So, I don't know. The investigator just pieced up the puzzle that they pretty much gave them. It was like they gave them the whole puzzle and then left out the 3 pieces and they just went back and connected them and stuff like that. So, and then you're going to use the ATM of where you're located at, bruh. Like, come on now. Like, that was just stupid. Sorry I'm late. You're good, Dalton. This is the last video, unfortunately. My boy didn't even use a hoodie or gloves. Yeah, like nothing.
At first, all 3 of them either didn't talk or were totally uncooperative.
Yeah,
but under intense questioning, Tiffany cracked a little bit. She said that they had robbed the Sumners, but nothing more. They didn't do anything else besides rob them. And there had been a 4th person involved in the robbery, 19-year-old Bruce Nixon, who was friends with Alan Wade.
See?
Bruce lived nearby, so the police quickly rounded him up and brought him in for questioning, and unlike the other 3, Bruce immediately caved. And the story he told about what happened to the Sumners brought many of the police that were involved in this investigation to tears. He said it all started with Tiffany. Tiffany used to be neighbors with the Sumners back when they still lived in South Carolina. Tiffany had a pretty rough upbringing and her father was permanently sick. And so the Sumners kind of took her under their wing and looked after her and built a very close relationship with her and kind of treated her like she was one of their daughters. Anything she needed, if she needed money, food, anything, they would give it to her. For example, in 2001, right before they left for Florida, they sold a car to Tiffany. But they sold it for basically nothing because they knew she didn't have any money and she really needed a car. 4 years later, in June of 2005, Tiffany was partying in Jacksonville, Florida with her new boyfriend, Michael James Jackson, when they got kicked out of the house they planned on staying in for the night. And so now they don't have a place to stay, they don't have any money, and that's when Tiffany remembers the Sumners had moved to Jacksonville and they would always help her out if she needed anything. And so the 2 of them drive to the Sumners' house in the middle of the night, they haven't called them, and they just knock on the door, totally uninvited. And Carol comes to the door, and when she opens it, she sees Tiffany, and immediately she's like, "Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in so long. Come in, come in. Who are you? Oh, Michael, great to meet you. Come on inside. I'll get you food. We'll get you fed. What do you need? What can we do for you?" And so that's when Tiffany explains to them that their plans had kind of fallen through and they didn't have a place to stay that night, and would it be possible to stay with them? And so Carol and Reggie right away say, "Absolutely no problem. Tiffany, Michael, you guys are guests here. You're welcome. Stay as long as you want." And so that night, Carol cooked a big meal for them and they all sat down at the table. And at some point, Carol and Reggie talk about the sale of their house in South Carolina. And somehow it came up that they had made $99,000 in profit from this sale. And they were so happy about it because now they could really retire comfortably. And so as soon as they said that, Tiffany and Michael shot glances at each other because they knew they had to come back and rob them. The next morning, Carol and Reggie got up early, they made coffee and they made breakfast, and they were hoping that Tiffany and Michael would stick around for the day and spend some more time with them.
Bruh, let me tell y'all something. How do you know so much about serial killers? I study a lot of serial killers, actually. I'm very interested in that stuff. But might as well just have walked to the police. Yeah, you might as well, like, come on, bro. Let me tell y'all something, man. Do not tell anybody how much you're making. Do not tell anybody how much your retirement is going to be. Don't tell anybody how much you got from income taxes. Don't tell many people how much you got paid. Don't tell people this stuff because they were fine. They were going to let them live up until they heard $99,000. Now, mind you, she already helped this lady, man. Nice lady. After all she's been through, hepatitis C, liver cancer, being shot 6 times, having to have your daughter take care of her, she still, out of the goodness out of her heart, helped her get a car and send her on her way. She comes back 4 years later. 4 years, bruh. Just let you know people are so fucking evil, bruh. 4 years later, comes back, ask her if she could stay. She didn't say no. She didn't hesitate. She said, yeah, sure, stay. And she's thinking Tiffany is a good friend of hers. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm making $99,000 and stuff for retirement, so we're going to live comfortably. Now they're broke. They don't have no place to stay. They got that broke down kind of like old car that she gave her 4 years ago, right? That's all they have. They have nothing else. But they want to be greedy. It wasn't enough. And to mind you, to let you know how messed up they are, right? To let you know how much they're messed up. They didn't even buy a house. They didn't even get caught in an apartment. They didn't buy furniture. They didn't buy new, like anything. They didn't buy a new car. They didn't buy like anything that was going to help them get back on their feet, bruh. They bought video games. They bought perfume. They bought perfume. They bought Xboxes. They bought clothes. Like all the stuff that they didn't need, and they were saying that they needed some place to stay. So that tells you like money is good sometimes, but money can cause people to do stupid stuff and spend it on shit that they don't need. Like, why? I'm pretty sure if you would have asked her, she probably wouldn't even gave you that. But you had to go and take the whole thing and spend it on dumb stuff, bruh. Like, that don't make any sense.
But Tiffany and Michael were very quick to want to leave. They said, thank you very much. We got to hit the road. And so they left. And as soon as they get in the car, they start planning how they're going to come back and rob the Sumners and get their hands on that $99,000. 1 month later, on the evening of July 8th, after all robbery preparations have been made, Bruce Nixon and Alan Wade show up at the Sumner house and they knock on the door. When the door opens, it's Carol, and she doesn't recognize either of them, but being as kind and generous as she was, she said, hey boys, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And this was exactly what Bruce and Alan were expecting based on what Tiffany told them. She said this couple would be very easy to exploit, and they tell her that their car had broken down and they needed to use her phone. And so she's a little bit skeptical, but ultimately she says, sure, come on in. And so Bruce and Alan go inside the house, the door shuts behind them, and as soon as it does, one of them draws a fake gun that looks very real and pointed it at Carol, while the other one began tying her up with cord and with duct tape. And so Carol begins screaming and making a bunch of noise, and Reggie, who's in the garage out of sight, he hears her. He comes running in to see what's going on, and he sees these two men who immediately attack him, and Reggie's got a broken leg and he's already pretty weak and frail, and so he doesn't put up much of a fight. And before long, he and his wife were all taped up and restrained on the couch, and they were having duct tape wrapped around their heads until everything was covered except for a slit underneath their nose so they could breathe. And so with the couple completely under control and at the mercy of their captors, one of the men texted Michael, who was down the road with Tiffany inside of Tiffany's rental car, and the text just said, all clear. And what that meant was Michael could now come up and help them rob the house. And so Tiffany stays down the road in the rental car. Michael makes his way up. He goes inside, and he, Bruce, and Alan proceeded to ransack the house. And while these three men are moving room to room, taking all of their valuables, Reggie and Carol are probably thinking to themselves that, you know what, this is awful, we're getting robbed, but after they take whatever they take and they leave, we'll be fine, we'll recover. But when these three men finished taking all of their valuable items, they decided that they would also take Reggie and Carol. So they stood the couple up and they marched them into the garage and they put them in the trunk of their own car. At this point, Bruce left the Sumner's house and went down the road and got in Tiffany's rental car, and Michael and Alan, they got into the Sumner's car, and the two cars met up on the road and then drove 40 minutes northwest just over the border into Georgia, where they found this access road and they went down it until they reached this very secluded section of forest. This was not just some random spot in the middle of the woods in Georgia. This was a pre-selected spot that Tiffany and the others had been out to 2 days earlier to prepare it. And what they had done to prepare was to dig a grave for the Sumners. Michael and Alan, in the Sumners car, drove up right next to the grave site, while Tiffany and Bruce came up right behind them. And once they'd all stopped, they got out of the car and they went right behind the Sumners car and they popped open the trunk. It's believed the temperature inside of that trunk was well over 100 degrees. And so Reggie and Carol were sweating profusely, and the sweat had caused their restraints to slip off their wrists and slip down off their face. And so the two of them were found holding on to each other and crying and praying. Seeing how weak they already were, the group decided they did not need to put new tape around their wrists or their face. They weren't going to go anywhere. And so they grabbed the two and they pulled them out and dumped them on the ground. It was probably around this time that the Sumners realized Tiffany was one of these 4 people that was doing this horrible thing to them. And I can only imagine the heartbreak they experienced. This girl that they took in under their wing, that they thought of as a daughter, was betraying them in such a heinous and horrible way. But there was no time to feel upset about it, because as soon as they were dumped on the ground, Michael grabbed Reggie and kind of threw him over to the side and said, "Sit down, don't move, or I'm going to kill you and your wife." And then the others grabbed Carol and dragged her away from her husband over to the edge of the grave, where they literally ripped the jewelry off of her face and off of her body. And then after all the jewelry was gone, they pushed her into the grave. Then they walked over to Reggie and dragged him over and threw him in with his wife. As soon as the couple was in the grave together, they repositioned themselves so they were both sitting up, one in front of the other, with Carol behind Reggie, and she threw her legs and her arms around Reggie, just kind of clutching onto him, and she buried her head into his back and she began crying. The original plan, apparently, had been to take the Sumners and put them in this grave and pretend like you were going to do something to them to scare them into giving up all of their information, all of their banking information, and anything else that was valuable. And it worked. And so as Carol is crying into Reggie's back, Reggie is pleading with the group. He's pleading to them, "Let me give you everything I have. Whatever you need, it's yours." And so Michael said, "Give me all your ATM bank card numbers, give me your PIN numbers, everything." And so Reggie did. He gave him all the information he could possibly give to him. And then, for some reason, despite the fact that at this point, the group has taken everything of value from this poor couple, they have extracted all the valuable information they could possibly get from them. Despite that, they decide that that's not enough. They need to kill the Sumners. And they need to kill them in the worst way imaginable. They need to bury them alive.
Oh,
For
my
hours,
goodness.
The group slowly, shovelful by shovelful, filled in this hole with Reggie and Carol sitting at the bottom begging for their lives. But the group didn't care at all. They just kept shoveling dirt down on top of them until the dirt and mud had gotten up to their necks, and the weight of the dirt was pressing in on their chests and was making it really hard to breathe. And so as Carol and Reggie are feeling this happening to them, they can feel themselves being crushed under this weight. Their cries for help become more and more desperate, but more spaced apart, because their breathing at this point is so labored, it's so hard to get a full breath that they're conserving their air at this point. And then at some point, as the dirt crept closer and closer to their mouths, they had to tilt their heads up to try to get a good breath of air. But when they did that, they began shoveling dirt directly onto their faces, causing them to choke and gag. They're inhaling this, and it's becoming nearly impossible to catch a breath. They're dying at this point. And so finally, another layer of dirt was thrown on top of them, and they disappeared under the soil. But their sounds didn't go away. They continued to whimper and make sounds as more and more dirt was put down, until finally they had filled in the hole, and they began packing the dirt down with the backs of their shovels. And they could hear underneath the soil still the sounds of this couple dying. This was a slow and horrible death. After the killers were done, they left the site and they took the Sumner's car and they dumped it in Florida, where it was ultimately found. And then they all piled into the rental car. They went to an ATM and pulled some of the Sumner's money out, and then went on a spending spree. Here is a photo of Tiffany celebrating just hours after killing the very people that had taken her in and treated her like a daughter. After their autopsies, the medical examiner explained that both Reggie and Carol had dirt packed into their nose, into their mouths, in their throats, in their stomach, and in their lungs, meaning their actual cause of death was being buried alive. In exchange for telling investigators what happened and for leading them to the gravesite where the Sumners were, Bruce Nixon was spared the death penalty and given a life sentence. As for Michael, Allen, and Tiffany, they were all sentenced to death. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it. So give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please go into the like button's favorite music playlist and replace all of the songs with the Kids Bop versions of them. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3 or 4 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same. It's JohnBallin416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin. I also have a second YouTube channel called Mr. Ballin Shorts, where I post random short videos and lost episodes. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support. And until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
That's why, man. You can't tell people about your financial situation, bruh. It happens all the time. Usually when people say stuff like that and people want what you have, man, that's why some people are just made to be broke, because they do stuff like this, or they spend it on stupid stuff, or they think money is all you need to be happy. You don't need money to be happy, bruh. It'll be nice. You'll have less things to worry about as far as like bills and like, you know, all that stuff, like getting around it. But other than that, you really don't need money to be happy, bro. You really don't. Like, I think it's better to be happy before we run into money instead of being like depressed and getting money, because you're not going to spend money as you would if you were happy versus if you were depressed, because you're going to go out and get stuff that's going to think is making you happy, but it's really not. It's just a materialistic type item. But it sucks, man. Bury them alive, bruh. Like, especially Tiffany. Just, it pissed me off kind of like seeing her smiling like in the photo with their money like in their mouth. Like, she didn't just kill them and bury them alive like a couple of hours or days ago. I don't know when the photo was, but like, that's insane, bro. You buried the woman that tried to help you twice alive, bro. Like, they gave you all the information. That's why I tell you guys a lot of times when, like, if you're a store clerk or something, you held at gunpoint, man, you just assume they're going to kill you, because a lot of times people take, they be like, "Oh, just give me all the money in the register," and they give them all the money in the register. They still shoot them. He gave them everything, bro. Bank account, card number, debit card, credit card, bro. Whatever it was, gave it to them, and they still killed them. And then they went around and spent it, and then got sent to jail, bro. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, that's why I tell you guys, bro, you gotta have some kind of protection, something, man. Like, man, everybody's not your friend. Everybody's not there to help you, bro. Some people are just near you to watch you fail. Some people are just there to watch you watch you fail so they can feel better about themselves. I think I seen a post like that where it's just like, you make a post on Facebook and get like 4 likes, and you post a story and you get like 30 something, 50 something views, which means people are seeing it, but they don't care. They're not there for you. They're there just to see what you're doing. People are like observant. So, man, I don't know, man. That was horrible, bro. That's probably one of the worst videos I've heard in a minute. I'm kind of discouraged to even keep recording, but I'm just gonna move on to the next video, since you guys been really participating and observing and responding and being really reactive to the content. So yeah, so we're about to jump into Nightmare Files. I know 2 of you guys said they wanted to see it, so I'm gonna do one more video since it's been a really good 3 videos so far. Rest in peace to I can't even think right now, Reggie and Nora, what's her name? Damn, man, that sucks. And then I'm sorry for Rhonda too, man. Rhonda had to hear that, bruh. Oh, man, that's some shit, boy. I don't see how police officers can do it sometimes, bruh. Especially when you catch them in the act, like some of the people that killed their babies and stuff like that. And it's just like, you have to arrest them because they're not a threat. So you could walk in and tell them, put the gun down. If you put the gun down, then you gotta take them in custody. Even I know deep down, sometimes police officers don't even want to do that, bro. They just want to just take the shot. So, but yeah. This video is by Nightmare Files. It's called 8 horrifying videos found from around the internet. This dude is really cool, man. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you go swoop by and go check him out. Not only him, but as well as Nightmare Files, Mr. Ballin, and Mr. Nightmare. All their content, all their content links are in the bottom of the description. So make sure you go stop by and check him out. He's really cool. You can add him on Twitter, all of them on Twitter. I know Mr. Nightmare Files responds sometimes. Mr. Ballin responds. He used to respond a lot, but his viewer count is going up, so it's kind of hard to respond to everybody. But he does respond to some people. He does retweet some people's comments and stuff like that. So make sure you guys are reaching out to these people and finding out more information and about their content and where they get their stories from. And even some stories. Sometimes when we react to these videos, some people from the stories actually commented on my post. So it happens. I've had maybe 2 or 3 people comment on my video saying that it was them, and they actually have proof of it being them. So it's cool. So hopefully this reached somebody that can shed some more information on where they're at now, or if anybody is following the case that's watching the live stream, make sure you let me know if they're still on death row, or if they've been executed already, or whatnot, or if they're still alive, or if they died from sicknesses or anything like that, or was killed in prison. Because I'm pretty sure this prisoners would not like that story, and I'm pretty sure the guards are going to let the prisoners know. That's how most of the guards or prisoners find out, is from other guards, because the guards can't do something, but if a person's in there for life already and they kill you, I mean, what they're going to do? Give them extra life? Like, come on now. What's up, Millennium? But, yeah, let's get into it.
It wouldn't be the boom.
Nightmare Files. Let's go.
Nightmare Files.
Nightmare Files. Horrifying videos found from around the internet by Nightmare Files, featuring Zims. Number 1. Can I be a voice for something like that? You think so? Like number 1. Or viewer discretion is advised.
In this video, you hear an IDF attack siren go off, and you'll see the C-realm systems firing in order to intercept rockets, artillery, and mortar rounds from hitting US military and coalition forces. These rounds are hit in mid-air and still land in different places,
That's crazy.
just not their intended target. If you listen, you can hear the sounds of the rounds actually hitting very close.
Can you do 13 horrifying videos better than this, or 11 horrifying? Those are 2 better than this one. I already started it. It's too late. You should have told me that before. I already started this one. So maybe I could do that one in the upcoming week. But yeah, I'm probably going to do this one, and that's going to be it. You said Nightmare Files. I didn't say which one. That's crazy though, bro. How they can make stuff like that that's able to hit missiles. Number 2.
This clip is from a Ring doorbell, where you see Jeremy Lawag knocking at his neighbor's door with a loaded handgun in his hand. Throughout that night, police had received multiple calls from that apartment complex due to an unknown male knocking at people's doors, mumbling and yelling incoherently. Eventually, police arrived, where they confronted the man at his apartment. The man became suspicious and reached for his weapon, forcing the closest officer to engage. Jeremy Lawag was hit, but had minor injuries.
Bruh, he tried to take him out. Because it was too savage.
Is that your Challenger down there? Is that your Dodge Challenger?
Why?
I'm just asking, is that your Dodge Challenger down there?
No, why?
Because that's registered to you.
Nope.
Look at his hand.
No.
Come out here.
No, sir.
Come out here.
Hey, what are you doing?
Let me see your hand.
Oh, bruh. I know that video. I think I seen the whole video. Yeah, he went like, I don't know if I have the right story, but I'm pretty sure that video, he had an argument with somebody and he went around knocking on the door or something like that over an argument, and he came back with a gun. I think the doorbell camera caught it, and he called the police, and the police went to the house to find the dude and then yeah, that happened. He still had the gun on him. Horrifying videos found around the internet. The Lay's chips falling on the ground. What the Nightmare Files pinned comment in this video, he explained that the original video had 18 clips instead of 8, but YouTube didn't like the original video because it was too savage. Yeah, you have to be careful with like YouTube now. A lot of terms and stuff are changing. But yeah, just make sure you send me that 13 horrifying videos by Nightmare Files, and I'll react to it sometime this week or over the weekend. Oh yeah, be on the lookout for another live stream too, possibly tomorrow of Resident Evil, because we still got to finish that too. Number 3. Tres. San.
Here, a tank element hits an IED.
Fight.
Once they exit their vehicles, they are surprised by a secondary explosion. Usually those secondaries are followed by enemy ambush.
What's up, James? Ooh. Sheesh.
The fucking trash pile, just like I said. Yeah, the LT's good.
I thought it was gonna be that pile next to the tank. That was moving that debris over there. I thought there was about to be something under that. IEDs don't play, bro. A lot of people die from those, bro. That's some scary stuff. And they got some other thing that shoots up and it explodes like this and it tears your limbs. And oh my god, it's scary.
In this video, 2 men record what they think is a spaceship due to the size and the height of the object, along with the object not having any sound coming from it. It does look weird. What do you think?
Standing here for about 5 minutes, staring up at this thing. And as you can see, it can't be a light post because those are low.
There's a star on the right side.
That's the moon.
As you can see.
But there's the bright thing on the left side, and it's long.
And we have no idea what the... As you can see, there's light coming from it.
I believe in spaceships too.
But there's no way to explain what the fuck it is. At all. So...
It's just sitting there.
Yeah. It's dead ass just sitting there.
It's a Batman signal.
It can't be a plane because it would make noise and it would be moving.
Yeah.
It can't be a star because it's long.
And there's 2 lights. I mean, there's 2 distinct lights right there. Like, what the fuck?
It's like he had a retainer in or something. I don't know. They're supposed to be releasing in the UFO stuff, right? On June 1st or something like that, or sometime in June. They're supposed to be releasing UFO info. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I've been seeing a lot of around the internet. I see stuff. I don't say it. That's why I say I don't know or not. It's like, oh, it's real. But if anybody can confirm that, but that's what I've been seeing a lot. A lot of people saying June 1st they're supposed to be releasing UFO info. You know, Chill has Nightmare Files on his channel. It's animated horror story videos, I think. Chill has Nightmare Files. I think I seen something about animated something on Nightmare Files' channel. Yeah, just let me know which one you want. I'm not going to probably react to like all 4 of them, but whatever one you want me to react to, just let me know. Spaceships aren't religion. They're a fact. The question is it ours? Pentagon footage of UFO, it's real. Congress is meeting about it. Oh yeah, I believe in that. I believe in UFOs 100%. If you really want to sit here and think we're the only one in the galaxy that's living and breathing, then you're out of your mind. That's insane. That's one topic I'll go to war with anybody. Now the ocean, I've seen some people like, there's no such thing as something big in the ocean. I don't know, bro. I think there is, bro. The ocean's too damn big. Bro, we haven't explored every part of it, so I don't know. I still think it's some kind of big, mega, something living down there. Number 5. Go. Cinco. No.
As a platoon is moving near a village, you see the point of view from a 50 cal gunner. Then all of a sudden a single shot comes close to the gunner as they are engaged.
That's
a
it.
few centimeters higher, and that gunner would have been hit.
Let's see.
Oh!
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bruh. They were shooting to kill, bro. They tried to take his face off. Nightmare Files, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. You have to ask him.
Hey, push up! Push up! Push up! Push all the way up!
Bruh. Like right there, that's where you start rethinking your life decisions. Like, do I really want to be a gunner now? Like, do I really want to stick my head back up? Like, that would be the things I'd be going through my head like right now. Like, that would have woke me up like, bruh, this is like insane. But I don't know. He asks a good question. I mean, I don't know. He makes good content, so it doesn't really matter to me what race he is. But Yeah, like I say, if you're curious to know, then ask him. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to determine these days. There's a lot of songs that people thought they were black and they're like white or they're Hispanic. So you never know. So you just have to ask him. Yeah. You got back up there though. I give him that. Number 6. Yo, the 50 cal is a strong ass weapon, bro. That shit could tear you without even hitting you, bro. Right next to you could tear your arm off still.
In this video, these soldiers are trying to take cover and concealment due to an active sniper in the area. You'll see the fat soldier moving in and out of concealment when another soldier teases him as if an explosion or shot happens. But when he says boom, the fat soldier is actually grazed on his arm by sniper fire.
You said the fat soldier?
I haven't quite this one over here.
Alright, well this one's mine then.
Hey, give me that gun back. This magazine's it wouldn't feed the boom. Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't know how the hell they shot him through the wood, unless you see him through the window or something. Dang, hit him in the arm.
Oh my God! Get out! It's hurt you? Oh.
Damn, son. Number 7.
As a U.S. Army Forward Observer spots Taliban forces on a nearby ridge from his observation post,
I can't see.
He uses 60mm mortars to suppress the enemy while simultaneously calling in a 500-pound JDAM to destroy the target. Due to a bad target talk-on, the bomb was dropped on a U.S. position instead of the enemy position. Luckily, soldiers were told to consolidate because a building was destroyed that previously had soldiers in it. If it weren't for their command telling them to consolidate, they would have lost some soldiers from that bomb being dropped in the wrong location.
Bro, this happens a lot. They don't talk about it in history and stuff, but stuff like this has happened. Facts.
There it is. Yeah.
Almost took out your own, bruh. Got the wrong coordinates.
What the?
I'd be pissed. I'd be livid, bruh.
God damn.
So if he'd have said it's freaking to consolidate, they would have took out their whole thing, bruh.
Holy shit, bro. Oh my God. Y'all good?
War ain't no joke, bruh. Oh man.
What the man?
Thank God.
Dude, Joe Bay got exploded, bro. Right here.
That was like a little baby bomb though, I think. Because I think that whole post would have went down.
It hit right in front of the Joe.
Roger, they hit right down by the piss tube.
Oh, he got shrapnel.
We're gonna have to rotate it out.
Yeah, he got shrapnel. Damn.
Yeah, bring him down. Hey, see if you can get these guys down to the bay.
Get these guys, hey, push down, push down. Roger.
Been done for. Roger, go ahead and get down. We'll start doing mace exams. Here, come on, brother.
Man.
Oh. Oh. What?
Get it, kid. Oh, it wasn't a baby bomb. Ooh, my goodness, bruh. Even it was like, oh no, there it is. And it's, bruh. Hit the wrong people, bruh.
Armed with a bow and arrow, the man recording the video encountered a black bear on a trail.
We are watching.
The bear charged the man and tackled him.
From around the internet.
Immediately after tackling him, the bear ran away. And due to luck, The man walked away with only a bruised elbow.
See, that's why I stay in the house, bruh. Unless I got that thing on me. I'm not going out into the wilderness, bruh. I gotta have something. So just in case this, because sometimes they're just protecting their cubs, and sometimes you can be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, bruh. Whew. Was that it? Oh yeah, that was it. Well, if you guys enjoyed these videos, man, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Keep doing what you guys are doing. If you're late to the stream, I really apologize. We went through Nightmare 5, just 5 disturbing phone calls. We went through Mr. Nightmare's 3 disturbing true warehouse stories. Mr. Balden's top 3 tools that led them to, I think it was death row. And we just finished Nightmare's Files. I think it's creepy videos, or 8 horrifying videos found from around the internet. So we finished 4 videos, man, to make up for you guys, is because I know I've been posting all week. I've been busy with school and other things. So yeah, man, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really, really, really appreciate you guys, man. Can't say it enough. If you guys, yeah, Mr. Ballin one was really sad, but man, people are like that. I freaking like shout out to those and detectives and stuff that go through this and deal with people like this, because I would be pissed, bro. You gotta have some kind of patience to not wanna hurt people and stuff, especially when they do stuff like that. It's a blank screen. I don't like blank screens when I'm talking. It's like weird. It feels like, I don't know. I need to, let's put something on this. There it is. That's better. Just discovered your channel about a week ago, and I'm loving your content. Keep it up. Thank you, Pat. I really appreciate it. Sorry, man. The stream started a little bit, I'll say earlier than usual, but I'm glad you guys stopped by. Thank you, Dalton. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, man, let's keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully, eventually, one day, I can do this every day, Monday through Friday, for you guys, so you guys can keep picking reaction videos. We can keep playing gaming videos together, like just trying different stuff, man. Just having fun, giveaways, all that stuff. So, God willing, hopefully we get there. Yeah, man, I hope you guys have a safe weekend. For me, it's Friday. My Friday has already started. I got CQ later, so I'm going to be up pretty much most of the day. So if you guys want to get in contact with me, Twitter or down in the comment section, I'll reply 90% of the time, 95% of the time if I'm sick, because sometimes I don't get notifications. So sometimes I forget to check because I'll be doing other things. I'll be studying and doing homework. Are you going to repost this? Yeah, I'm going to work on that right away. As soon as I finish this one, I have to go in and I have to cut out the part of me waiting, and then the video is going to start. But yeah, I'm going to repost it. 100K someday. Man, I hope so. I would love to do this, man, and eventually probably get into like working with other YouTubers and stuff like that, and just trying to have fun. Maybe even explore some haunted places. Maybe one day, a YouTube person or channel will see me and be like, hey man, you want to tag along with us if you don't believe? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. For you guys just to do that kind of stuff. But we're going to branch out eventually once our YouTube gets a little bit better and gets more subscribers and stuff like that. And then eventually too, I'm going to start uploading merchandise to my channel so you guys can have that as well. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much. If you guys need anything from me, you know where to find me. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is mr.nightmare, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. If you are watching this pre-recorded version of it, let me know down in the comment section which was your favorite video, which was the saddest. I'm probably already gonna know the answer. But other than that, man, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.